Alright, this video we're going to show you how to do these vent window, replacing the vent window rubber seal. Okay, the dreaded window rubber seal, all dry rotted. Right, so hard to move around, they're hard to open because they're all dry rotted. Okay, everything's all jammed up. So a couple things you need to do before you even start on this. You need to order these. These are the runner for the actual glass that goes in here. Okay, it sits in here, and you can see they're all how tore up that is. Okay, it's all rusted away. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. I did one side, I already did that side. Just so you know, they're a pain in the ass. So if you're going to take this job on, just make sure you got a lot of patience. Okay, so number one thing is, obviously, you need to take them out of the car. Figure out how to get them out of the car. I'll show you a little quick thing on them, but you need to take the glass out, take the regulator out of there, take the glass out. Okay, so you got the glass out of the car. He's getting new glass, so that's what we're waiting on. Okay, you got a bolt here and here. Okay, that holds the thing on, and then there's another bolt down here, and I'll show you those. Okay, so those three things basically go like this. Okay, you got one here, and one down here. Okay, so this sits in the car like this. You got, those are the two bolts. That one, okay, this one adjusts how this sits. Okay, tilting forward and back. The other one down there is what makes it adjust in and out. So it's on a pivot. Okay, it's got a little adjuster. Now these are already set, because this one, I believe one of them came out of this car. Nope, I'm sorry. Neither one of these came out of this car, so they're probably going to have to be reset. All right, so last thing I got to do on this side is basically trim this off, because they give you enough to do, you know, probably more than one car, but this gets trimmed off. It's a little tiny rivet in the back. So I'm going to show you from scratch how to do one side to match the other side. Okay, you're definitely going to need a drill, a Dremel. You're going to need a rivet gun. You're going to need small, these little rivets, little 1/8 inch. Make sure they're steel, not aluminum. Okay, and those are what's going to hold this in. Okay, I'm going to show you that. Instead of doing one thing, I'm going to show you how to do it a little bit different. The way I did it, because there's no way you're replacing that little pin. Okay, so if you're changing this glass, it's a whole nother thing. Okay, that needs to be, this is almost like glued in, or whatever they use to put this in. You got to soak this and get this out, but we're using the original glass, just taking the frame apart. All right, so let me set the camera up and see how much of this I can explain to you. All right, so for starters, don't take them both apart at the same time, for sure. You can always go reference back to the other one. I'm gonna take this apart, but I'm gonna reference that one as we're going along. All right, so here's what you're gonna do first. You need a 7/16 wrench. Okay, you're gonna take this nut off. Before you take the nut off, there's a little locking tab. Okay, take the locking tab off. Okay, you just bend that down. Flatten that out a little bit. You're going to take this nut. You're going to see about how much it's down. It's about 3 threads down. Okay, right here. And this is basically spring loaded, and that just gives tension on the little vent window to open and close it so it doesn't blow in the breeze when you're trying to drive down the road. All right, set everything apart. So when you take it apart, there's a nut, a washer, a spring, a washer with a slot in it, and then a nylon hard washer, hard nylon washer. Okay, that gives us something to be able to pivot on. Okay, next thing, you got 3 screws, Phillips head screws. They're a little self-tapping, not self-tap, they're a little right, real short. And what that does is these 3 hold the actual frame. Okay. Some of these are beat up pretty good, but okay, so take those 3 screws out, and then this frame comes off. So this is the front part of the frame. Okay, this is pot metal, real heavy, comes off. There's a little rubber, that's the rubber stop for the top of the glass, where the glass stops. Okay, that doesn't come off. I don't know where you would even get those. Don't take it off. But if you were to take it off, you have to grind the head of the rivet off, and then it'll drop off. There's really nothing wrong with this one. I'm just going to clean it up, make sure it's still good. Okay, and it's just basically a stop. Okay, we'll get back to that thing later. So that gets put out of the way. Now, a couple things. This hinge, or pivot, hinge, whatever you want to call your hinge, okay? Everything is riveted in place. So you got to grind those 2 rivet heads off. This little hinge comes off. Some guys want to grind this off and then replace this with a nut and bolt, but they look stupid. In my opinion, I'd rather have it looking stock like that. So this gets buried from that frame later, so you don't even see that. So no matter what you do here, it's good. Okay, so this is metal and this is stainless steel. I mean, worst scenario, you could actually tack it in, but we're gonna break those 2 rivets, cut the 2 rivets off, and then this will come out and the glass will slide out of this pivot. And then again, there's another, right in there, there's another hard nylon washer, and then a slotted washer on top. Okay, you can see how loose this is now, because there's no spring, no nothing, no tension on it. Okay, so let me get the grinder out. I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to grind those off, and I'll show you the next step. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'll set this and just grind this out. Okay, you can grind the head of the rivet off, and then just, you'll be able to just hit this. Like that, and you'll see it pop through. Just like that. Okay? And now, we'll get the rest of the rivet out later, but now the glass comes out. Right, just like so. You got to make sure you don't lose these 2 little, the slotted washer and the other washer. It's jammed, it's sandwiched in. So you got to just get that, hold that, and get that out, and you got the glass. Okay. You got your 2 washers, nylon washer, slotted washer. Put them aside. Now you could go in here and clean this glass up. This is chrome, got a little bit of rust pit on it, but you see what I'm talking about. It's a rivet, but it's a real short rivet. So rather than trying to mess with that and line it back up, you pop them two out and you're done. And again, like I said, that gets hidden later, you'll see. Okay, make sure these aren't damaged, that it ain't broken, rusted. Okay, this works fine. If you were going to take this glass out, you have to pop, there's a little tiny drift pin, okay, in there. You pop the drift pin out, this comes out, and then the glass will slide out, but you got to melt all the stuff that's in here. I'm not getting involved in that right now. Okay, so put the glass away for now, and what you're going to do next is this seal, right, is, so this piece of metal is wrapped around like that, and the seal is inside it. And this thing is really dried out, so it's probably going to just crack or whatever. So we're just going to take this all out, right, like that. And then you could see, shot. Okay. Tell that's all messed up. This is all dry rotted. Okay, now the other thing you want to do is behind here, I'm going to show you how to change that piece also. Okay, this one, these got to come out. Oh man, yeah, buddy, that thing's in there. The other one was tight. All right. There we go. Whatever you got to do to get that out, because it's in there pretty good. What happens is, as it dry rots, it starts to shrink back and get tighter and tighter against the little frame rail. And you got to kind of be careful you don't bend this, because this thing's kind of flimsy. All right. Go. All right, like that. You can tell how nasty and dry rotted that thing is. It's shot. Okay, now that's garbage. Now these, you got a rivet down here that holds this channel from sliding up and down. On the top, you got a little tiny screw. Okay? You take that out. Now you got room to work on putting the seal in place. Okay, so now that opens up. Okay, now this seal right here, what you do is there's a, like I said, there's a rivet right here. We're going to cut that off. Same as we did the other one. Pop that rivet out. And then this channel, there's the rivet, the head of the rivet. So you can see it right in there. That's gone. And then this whole channel, I might have to do this without the, oh, I gotta do it right here. And you just pop this down, and this channel needs to come out. Rusty just like the other one, so you want to be able to get it off. You might have to pry it off. So see that channel right there, like that. This chrome is actually split, so this comes out. Okay. You're going to slide this all the way down and out because it's only got, it has the one rivet. The other rivets don't go through that, so that's the end of that one. Okay, so I'm going to pry this down. Let me see this. Yes. Okay, so sorry. There's another rivet right. Oh, no, there isn't. Okay, so I thought there was another rivet there, but I remember only taking one off. All right, so this slides down and out. As you can see, the other one I had in my hand got pretty banged up trying to get it out. So let me do that, and then I'll get back on here. All right, so you got to look real close. So there's these little hooks. See the little hook in there? Okay, those are what hold this vertical seal in. You get behind this, you'll be able to pry this whole thing out. It ain't going to slide out because it's all rusted. So it's all destroyed anyway. Yours might slide out. This one ain't sliding out. So pull this all out. Keep prying it open like a can. Okay, and there you go. Now it comes out. Okay, so there are no other rivets. It's just that one on the very bottom. Okay, and then this comes out. Okay, you can see how flimsy this is. There's nothing to this thing because it's all deteriorated. The new one's actually pretty nice. Okay, now next part. This vertical seal. Okay, this vertical seal on the inside. Let me go get the other one first. Okay, this is what the new seals look like. So you got a V, basically a V like that, and then you got the vertical seal. Match up the vertical seal first. Okay, make sure it fits. See these little tangs on it? They got to line up with these holes in here, so just make sure that they're the same. We had another set once that they never lined up, so they're probably for something else. Okay, so these line up. Take the screwdriver, pry the tangs up, little tabs, up straight. This comes out like that. Again, that's all rusted, so they're junk and they're dry. The new one, right, you're going to put it back in the same way. Here's the only thing. So these tangs are full of rubber, so you got to kind of clean them off. Get a little razor blade, all right, and then just cut the rubber away, and then you're going to peel the rubber off. Just peel the rubber back so that you expose the metal. Okay, and you got to be careful you don't bend them. So you want to keep these this as straight as you can. Okay, let me get this. All right, so you got your tangs ready to go in there, right? Now here's the deal. You get a little bit of dielectric grease. Put it on this edge, on this outside edge where it goes up against, where it's going to go up against this lip. This has a little tiny lip in here, okay? And this has a little lip. This goes up in there. Make all your holes go in, make all those little tabs go in their correct holes, okay? And then by holding the tab, squeezing it on there, you'll see that line goes all the way down to there. You're going to squeeze it, and then you're going to push the tab forward. Hope you could see that, but forward and down. Forward and down. And you keep pressure on the back. Forward and down. And you keep doing that all the way down. And then all the tabs are kind of bent down, and if you look, there's like a recess in each one of them. You have to bury that tab down inside that recess, because the other piece, this piece, is going to end up sliding back up past it and covering them all. All right, so that's looking good, and then it'll sit flush against the chrome. Okay, so now that you got them half down, put it up against the bench. Put this up against the bench right here like that. This way you could push down tight on it and then just tap them down and over. So you could do it like on a corner like this. Okay. So basically I'm going to hold that down and then just push the tab down and over. Push the tab down. Like that. Like that. All right, now that's in. That's nice and tight. That ain't going anywhere. Okay, so you got that in place. Now the fun begins. All these, see how it's set up like, it's got like a little tiny lip, and it's got a lip like that. All that has to fit back around, so the inside goes around that from the inside, and the outside goes around that from the outside, to make it look like that, and it'll look like that on the bottom when it's done. Okay, so Easiest way I found to do it, it gets pushed down, and you got to keep prying it in, prying it in, prying it in. Put some dielectric grease on it, same way. The vertical part is the same thing. It's shaped. There's a slit on each side, and it gets, so you see that in there? That goes inside there, and it catches this rubber piece all the way to the top. So all this sits in here just like that. Start in the corner, and you'll see when you push it together, you got to go, it's, see how that sits in there? That bead has to go inside that metal rail. So start with the corner, put a little dielectric grease in it. As you start it, it'll drop in, and then just keep feeding it in and feeding it in, and you might have to poke the sides with a little screwdriver, like a flat screwdriver or something, to keep it, prying it back into the metal on both sides. All right? Once you get that, you're home free. All right, so let me do that. Let me see if I can show you a little bit as I'm doing it. First off, with the dielectric grease on the edge, just put a little bit. This stuff goes a long way. Okay, especially in the corner. And then this stuff dries off after anyway, so it kind of goes away. Let's see if I could show you how I'm feeding this in here. That goes in there, and you pull it through. Once you pull that first edge through, you got to make sure you're going to hold the corner, and then it becomes, you got to keep pushing it in there like that. Hope you could see that. Okay, and then same thing with the bottom. You'll know when it's in far enough because this will hang over, and that piece inside, this little lip, see where the screwdriver's going down in? That lip goes behind here. So just like this is, like that, just like that on both sides. Okay. Like so. And again, you got to keep pushing it into the corner to get it to seat. Like, see, that came out again. So once you get the corner in, the rest of it works out pretty good. Like that. And then just keep feeding it in. Okay. Try to get this part in. Like that. And like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little clamp, and I'm going to put a clamp in here to hold it from or else it's going to try to keep sliding out on me. Once I get the clamp in there, then I can feed the rest of it and keep working the rest of it in. All right, let me get a clamp. All right, so just one of these squeeze clamps just to hold it that way while you're playing around trying to get it, because as you pull on it, it's going to come out. Now over here, you're going to see where it goes in, right? And then you got a hole, a slot where the pin goes through for the pivot of the glass. Like you got to tuck and roll it. This side's on. There we go. Okay. Bottom's in. The bottom's in. Make sure this corner stays in place. Like that. Alright, so you got to make sure it's nice and flat all the way across. Like I said, the corner is the worst one. This is all in. That's all in. Get this one to go in here. Same thing, you're going to push it down and then tuck it in. Kind of like put one side in, so you get the one side in place, and then the other side you got to kind of tuck it in with the screwdriver. So then the top, you got to kind of fit it down. It's got to go underneath where the screw was. Hopefully you could see what I'm doing here. It's hard to do this in video to all this, but hopefully you're getting it. If you got this far, you're home free. Alright, tuck all that. Make sure that's tucked in. Make sure that's all tucked in. You'll see it. It'll sit in there. And then that sits like that. So now, see how it sits? You're in. You're going to push these two together. Let it sit on its side right there. That piece is going to sit right inside there like that. And you put your screw back in. Okay? So when it's done, it'll look like so it'll be hanging out just like that. Okay? Put this back in here. Now, here's how you know if it's in straight. So if you look at it from there, see how that's got that curve in it? That's because that side didn't get tucked in right. That needs to be tucked in. Like so. There we go. Now it's nice and straight. Okay? All the way up. Now this goes in here. Just like that. You're going to get your little machine screw. Put that in there. That'll draw it together. Nice and tight. Okay, now you got that back together. You could take this clamp off. Make sure that that's seated in there. It still wants to come out, so you still need to pop that in there. There it goes. All right. And you can push it in from the inside like that. And then you know it's sitting inside. Okay? You just push down on it into the corner. Okay. Now, you're going to get your channel now slides up. That's why you got to make sure those are down like that. And then the channel will slide all the way through. You're going to go to the top. You're going to get your frame. Well, you got to get your frame. Your frame is going to sit up here, and you're going to get this part of it to sit back inside there like that. All right, that's going to go like that. You want to make sure that you got enough clearance there, so you want to make just like that. Okay, so you got that on. Now I'm going to do the glass. So get your glass out. You're going to get this all cleaned up and get your rivets ready. All right, so again, 2 little 1/8" steel rivets, and then you get the glass. You're going to put your this one with the cutout goes on the inside. So you're going to put this through, right? This one is the passenger side. Goes in like that. That stays on that side. This goes in. Washer goes in. You fit the washer with the slot in it, like that. And if you look at it, make sure the slot is lined up, like that. And then you get one of them nylon washers. That goes like that. Let me see if I can show you that. Like that. Nylon washer, and then the whole thing goes through the hole like right, so that fits in there. You close this up, and then your ring, washer, your other washer, your nut. Oh, sorry, not the nut. You gotta put the little locking tab down. And then your nut. Get it back down a couple of turns until it has about 2 or 3 threads exposed. You'll feel it, it gets a little tight, that's good. Now you go back here, line up your what you call it here, your hinge. Okay. Get that lined up. Put your rivet in it. Now put your 2 rivets in. Okay, so now you got your rivets back in there. This all pivots nice. Now you want to make it where it's not crazy tight. You don't want to make it too loose either. So get all that back on. I'm going to put the frame back on. So now you got the rivets in there. This, like I said, make sure that went all the way up before, so you know it goes up inside there. That goes way up inside there. You're gonna tuck that in, pull it tight. Make sure this rubber is on the outside, like that. And then on the back side, you're gonna put your 3 little screws back in it. You need something to pull up like that, so make sure you're lined up. Make sure you catch them all first. Okay. Last one in. Okay. 1. 2. And 3. All right. So you got them 3 on. Window pivots. Right. This is the passenger side. It's snug, but not tight. Okay. And then that's at about the same spot it was. Give it that extra little line up. That. Fold that over. You see that? Fold that little tab over, and you're done. Right. Nice. Okay. And the last thing you do is the last thing, you're gonna make a little 1/8-inch hole in the back side of that. All right. One more rivet, and you're done. That one gets a rivet. Right. Now that can't move, that can't slide back out. Take your whiz wheel and you just cut that right off. Actually, you could probably leave that on there. Let me check it. I'm going to check it. If we don't have to cut it off, you don't have to cut it off. But I mean, the other one, I'm just going to cut it off. This is cut right here. Right? Turn this back on. I mean, that's how the original one was, so we're just going to make it the same way. I'll cut both of these off. So putting them back on, drop it in through here, you turn it a little bit, drop it down. You got one bolt there, the adjuster one. You got a Phillips head, real long self-tapping Phillips head, or a little screw, whatever you want to call it, right? And then you got these two here. So you're going to adjust the door. Let's see. Put them in. Let me just get this on here so it don't move on me. Okay. Nice seal here. Make sure that sits down. And then you're going to tilt this like that until you got a nice clean line here. And a nice clean line here. So it seals against this rubber that you put in. All right, that's all nice now. Opens nice. Closes nice. Locks. Nice tight seal. Okay? If you don't know how to take the glass out and you don't know how to do that, don't even bother, because the rest of it's a pain in the neck. Okay? This, I'm waiting on glass and some tracks, and then we'll be able to put the rest of the glass in it. And now that this is all nice and new, it'll go up and down nice and smooth. Okay? So that's that. And again, if you need to adjust it, you can always adjust it from down there and up here. Just move it in or out, up and down. Usually the up and down is determined by this, which you're talking about moving the door. But this one fits nice and tight against there, and the glass will go up nice and tight and meet the back. Okay? And these, we showed you how to do those. They basically, there's a little screw on the bottom. They slide down. The old ones slide down. Put a little stuff on them, and the new ones slide up through. Okay? All right. Here's your vent window.